Hey everyone, welcome to the Breakthrough Entrepreneurs Show, where we empower entrepreneurs to overcome the challenge of work-life balance, burnout, break bad old unhealthy negative habits, behaviors, build new habits, create new rituals, new routines. I'm your host Muhammad Faraj, and today our topic is how entrepreneurs can stay disciplined without falling into guilt. As entrepreneurs, we need to follow our non-negotiables because our non-negotiables, they keep us sharp, they keep us healthy, they isolate us from our old version, they help us maintain our new version, the version that we have worked very hard, that we have made so much progress to build that new version, the new version that we are building constantly, daily, weekly, monthly to reach our higher full potential in our health, in our productivity, in our performance, in our focus. So, so many entrepreneurs they commit to their non-negotiables, but sometimes suddenly they slip by their non-negotiables or they break their non-negotiables, and unfortunately so often this leads to breaking your routines or impacting your health or not committing to your boundaries, to your constraints, and this leads to a spiral of old negative thoughts, feelings, emotions, which leads you to feeling overwhelmed, stressed, frustrated, and feeling disappointed of falling back to your old version, and the guilt starts and the self-doubts they start to show up in your life, and you feel like you are uncontrolled over your health, over your behavior, over your life in general. So in this episode I'm going to talk about this spiral and how you avoid breaking your non-negotiables, and I'm going to share practical steps or tips that will help you manage those days when you slip by or when you break your non-negotiables, because life can happen and things can happen in your life. So it's not guaranteed that you are following your routines, your non-negotiables, or your boundaries or your constraints daily, weekly, monthly without making any mistake. It's very common that so many entrepreneurs they make mistakes. They make and they set back, they make mistakes and they meet setbacks, and sometimes they unconsciously they break their non-negotiables or they repeat a bad habit, because every entrepreneur should protect their new version. They should protect their disciplined, structured, and healthy version of themselves. So that way they don't fall back to old habits, to old behaviors. So I'm telling you from my own personal experience recently where I had created my non negotiables and I am crystal clear about my non negotiables. And it took me years to realize that unless I create my non negotiables and commit to them and be aware of some of those habits that I have created non negotiables on top of those habits or behaviors, so they don't show up in my life again, so I don't repeat the bad habit again. So recently I made a mistake and it was a slip by. So what I did is I committed to visit a friend on the evening, and I felt tired, I felt exhausted because I wanted to take break and I wanted to rest, and this was my way to rest and relax my body. So I decided to visit a friend that I had not seen for like I don't know, from maybe from the last season, like from spring. I had not seen him for a while. So he asked me and he invited me to come and visit him at his home. So my plan, my scheduled time was to visit him at 18 o'clock, 18 p.m. until 21 p.m. So I went and I visited him, and my intention, my plan was to leave his house at 21 p.m. so I can get back home, take a shower, eat some dinner, and then start to plan my day and go to bed at 22 p.m. But what that ended up happening is I started to negotiate. I hesitated to leave his house at 21 p.m. I did not pay attention. I did not follow along with my non negotiables. So I thought it was nice and I enjoyed being at his home. His home is very cozy and we were watching sport, and I did not commit to my non negotiables. I started to hesitate and negotiate. So once I hesitated leaving his home at 21 p.m., I stayed up until 22 p.m., which was late night, and I came back home until I took shower and then going to bed, and it took me a while to get to sleep. So I ended up sleeping at around 23 p.m., which is very wrong and it is very unhealthy because I have regulated my own sleep, and my body tells me all the time, every day, that I should go to bed at 22 p.m. That's it. Because once I go to bed later than 22 p.m., I pay the price next day. I'm feeling tired, low energy, exhausted, not able to focus. I get so many old negative thoughts, feelings, emotions, and then I end up in that spiral, and that spiral leads to high stress. And then when I'm low in energy, I start to feel negative about my life, frustrated, overwhelmed, disappointed, not being disciplined enough, not having control over my health, over my habits, over my behaviors, over my non negotiables. So I went to bed at 23 around, yeah, I went to bed at 23 p.m. and it took me a while to sleep, and then next day I paid the price. So this happened with me, and I felt so frustrated next day. So I couldn't do much work. I couldn't be focused. I couldn't be productive. And the next mistake that I made is when I woke up in the morning very early, because I'm early riser. I wake up early. It doesn't matter what time I go to bed. It doesn't matter if I go to bed early or late. I wake up very early. So I woke up very early and then I did a high intensity training or workout, and my body couldn't handle the situation because I had low energy and very bad quality sleep, and my sleep was disrupted and I couldn't get good enough sufficient sleep. And then I did a heavy intensity workout, so it became too much on my body and my body couldn't handle that. So I wasted so much time, I wasted so much energy and ended up in that spiral, and that spiral led me to waste so much time, so much energy. So the reason why I wanted to talk about my personal experience and give you an example of a recent slip or a break on my non-negotiables is because as entrepreneurs it's very important that we do not break our non-negotiables, that we stay committed to our non-negotiables, because you have planned your routines, you have planned your habits, your rituals, and you have shadowed your bed. So every time you stay up late at your friends' houses or your relatives or the people that you have in your life, every time you stay up late at their home, and when you feel like the environment is cozy, it's nice, and you don't feel like you want to go back home, you would rather continue and break your non-negotiables, you would rather stay, continue enjoying and having fun with those friends, watching a show or a movie. But when you break your non-negotiables, when you ignore your health, when you do not respect your sleep, your body, your health, next day the same thing happens to you, just like it happened to me. You will wake up in the morning low energy, not motivated, not driven, not feeling excited about your day. You would feel like you're tired, exhausted, despite the fact you have relaxed during the weekend and you have visited your friends or took some rest to meet some friends. But even though you wake up in the morning feeling so tired, so exhausted, low in energy, and then you end up in the same spiral, and the same spiral will lead to old negative thoughts, feelings, emotions from your old version. So it's very important that we commit to our non-negotiables, because when you decide on your non-negotiables, you should not negotiate. You should break this bad, unhealthy, negative habit, because it's messing up your life. It's impacting your health. It's impacting your future, your goals, your business, your relationships. Because as entrepreneurs, it's very important that we protect our sleep time, that we protect our health, that we stay committed to our non-negotiables. I mean, the first step is you plan your non-negotiables, you find habits, behaviors that keep showing up, that keep repeating in your life. And the second step, you create a list of non-negotiables and you hang out that non-negotiable list somewhere in your home where it's visual, where it's visual and visible in your environment, so you don't write it down and then you forget about it. You need to have this list on your wall somewhere in your house, so every day you review your non-negotiables. Because if you don't review them, if you don't review them every day, first thing you wake up in the morning and before you go to bed, odds are you will not care so much about your non-negotiables. You will not commit to them. You will not follow them. When you write down your non-negotiables and when you make them visible in your environment, you keep reminding yourself about the entrepreneur that you are meant to be. You keep reminding yourself about those habits, about those behaviors that kept you stuck before, that kept you feeling stagnant, that kept you small, that prevented you from achieving your goals and making your dreams come true. Because, my friend, your non-negotiable is connected to your dreams. If you commit and follow your non-negotiables, I promise you, your dreams are waiting on you. Your dreams depend on your non-negotiables. So we set non-negotiables not to make our life feel boring or miserable, or our non-negotiables feels like rules and it's restricting our life and it's making it boring, and it's not a jail. Non-negotiables is not a jail. They are for your life. They are good for the sake of your business, for your future. So setting boundaries, setting constraints, setting non-negotiables help you become committed, disciplined, aligned with your goals, with your dreams, and with your ambitions. So The difference between your old identity and new identity. You see that when you shadow your sleep time and when you commit to your non negotiables and when you are following with your non negotiables, every time a certain behavior or bad habit tries to show up, or you are negotiating and you're trying to repeat a same bad, unhealthy, negative habit that you used to repeat it before, I want you to remind yourself at that moment that my old version used to be like that. My old version used to go to bed very late and hang out with people and just chase pleasure and entertainment and not doing the work, not taking care of my health, not being focused, not being productive, not following along with my schedule, not committing to my time management, not following along with my goals, with my ambitions. This is my old version. This is what I used to be. But whenever a bad habit, whenever a bad, negative, unhealthy behavior tries to show up in your life, keep reminding yourself, my new version would never repeat that bad habit again, because I know the costs of that bad habit, and I know how that bad habit impacted my life, my relationships, my clarity, my mindset, my goals, my dreams before in the past, but not anymore. I will not let any negative, bad habit, unhealthy failure, or breaking my non negotiables. I will not let any bad, unhealthy, negative habit behavior show up in my new version. I have made the decision that I'm going to transform my entrepreneurial life, that I'm going to build that new version, that I'm going to be the person, the entrepreneur that I always dreamed to be or that I meant to be. So I will not break my non-negotiables. Once I make decision, once I decide on my non-negotiables, once I set constraints and boundaries about some habits that are keep making me feel tired, exhausted, drained in energy, depleted. They make me feel angry, frustrated, disappointed, overwhelmed, stressed. I will never let those habits show up in my new version, in my new life. And I know how those habits will impact my business, my life, and the dream life that I'm always dreaming, and the dream life that I promised my family to build. So, you need to keep reminding yourself that I have made the decision, I am going to build my new version, and my new version would never stay up late. And the second thing is you need commitment. So, whenever you are going to visit a particular family or some friends or some people that you are cooperating with or that you are working with or that you are involved with in your business, in your entrepreneurship, you need to commit to a sleep schedule, and you need to remind yourself that and tell those people that I am going to visit you from this time, from this particular time or this particular hour until this hour. So you say it out loud to yourself and you tell those people, you send them, I don't know, SMS or email, or when you call them while you are visiting those people, you need to tell them that I need to start working next day early, and I need to wake up early in the morning, and I need to make sure that I am done and implementing my morning routine before I start working. So tell them that I am staying with you, I'm visiting you from this time until this time. So that is a commitment. And after you go and visit those friends, those people, or the people that you are involved with, after you visit them, whenever a negotiation starts in your brain, whenever your brain starts to tell you that no, don't go home, stay up late, hang out with people, it feels nice, it feels very pleasurable, don't miss the opportunity, all that. No, tell yourself that my new version would never stay up late at night. My new version would never replace happiness, healthy dream life with that particular habit, with hanging out or staying up late with people. Keep reminding yourself that my new version wants to be healthy. And I know if I stay up late, if I don't follow with my non negotiables, I will be an unhealthy person, and I know the cost is next day. I know that if I stay up late, if I break my non negotiables, if I don't go to bed as early as possible or on scheduled particular time, I know that next day I will wake up late, feeling drained with energy, feeling low in energy, and feeling unhealthy, exhausted, tired, and this will lead to a spiral of thoughts, feelings, emotions, because when you are low in energy, your brain focuses on problems, focuses on issues or on things that are not working in your life instead of solution. So when you are going to bed as early as possible, when you are committing to your non-negotiables, coming back home and getting to bed, you and your family on time, on scheduled time, and then when you wake up in the morning, you are feeling happy, excited, healthy, motivated, and you thank yourself for not staying up late, for not breaking your sleep schedule. You're showing yourself that you are in control over your life. You are control over your habits, routines, behaviors. You are in control over your health. Not that nagging feeling, not that negative self-talk that tells you don't go to bed, don't go home, stay up late, don't care about your health. Your brain tells you all these kinds of things. It's because a bad habit. It's because your old negative, unhealthy behavior, your old negative, unhealthy version tells you this. But don't listen to that. Commit to your new version. So, and the other thing is, life can happen, and sometimes we all make mistakes. We are humans, we are not robots, we are not really programmed just like robots or machines. We can make mistakes, we can do setback, we can fail sometimes. Sometimes we may slip by our non negotiables. Sometimes life can happen and you find yourself you didn't commit to that habit. So when this happens with you, instead of criticizing yourself, instead of blaming yourself for not having control over your behavior, over your habit, for not being able to follow your non-negotiables, instead of criticizing yourself, instead of talking negatively about yourself, which impacts your self-esteem, which impacts your clarity, your mindset. Instead, just tell yourself, reflect that this is a mistake, this is a setback. It doesn't mean that I'm going back to my old version. It just means that this is a feedback for me that I need to maintain good, healthy, positive habits. It's just a feedback, or it's just a reminder for you that you need to stay committed to your non-negotiables. So it's not that you are losing or erasing all your progress. It's not like you suddenly became your old version. No, it's just one mistake, it's just one setback, and next day I will go to bed early. Next day I will eat something healthy. Next day I will do a good workout. So just because you make a mistake, just because you slip by sometimes, or you go back to a particular certain bad habit behavior. It doesn't mean that you are a failure. So stop this criticism or self-criticism. Stop blaming, stop feeling stressed, overwhelmed, and frustrated. Instead, think wisely and just gain awareness and tell yourself that, okay, I got a feedback, and I know that when I am protecting my health, when I'm going to bed as early as possible, when I'm listening to my body, when I'm relaxing, when I'm resting, when I'm going to bed on time, that means I'm maintaining a healthy life. So I can continue with that healthy life. I can stay consistent with my habits, because discipline is not about perfection. Discipline is about staying consistent. Even when you fall off your track, you can always get back on track. Next day, you can, if you feel like you wasted time and you didn't do work and you couldn't be productive, just remove some of those low value tasks and work on the most important ones. If you find yourself that you didn't go to bed as early as possible, or you made a mistake, or you didn't follow with your non-negotiables, just do something healthy next day. Just remind yourself that, okay, this was a setback, this was a break, this was a bad habit, but next day I will implement good, healthy, positive habits, and I will stay on track and maintain a good, healthy life. So some practical tips for you that will help you stay healthy and protect yourself from falling into guilt. So, do not, number one, when you slip by, when you make a mistake, do not exaggerate, do not expand on the problem, do not see it as bigger than it is. Okay, one bad night's sleep, it doesn't mean that you're very unhealthy. One a mistake of getting distracted, it doesn't mean that you are going to fail or your business will fail. It just means that you made a mistake. Just gain awareness, use or take advantage of that feedback of, you know, that what how it feels to be distracted, and you know that you are falling off from your productivity. Whenever you make a mistake, just remind yourself that I am still working on my goals, on my dreams, that I am still aligned with my ambitions, but mistakes can happen and setbacks can show up in my life, but I promise myself that I am going to stay committed with my non-negotiables, that I'm going to repeat those habits until they become automatic. And the next thing that you can do, my best tips for you, is stop blaming and criticizing yourself and think about the solution. If you didn't commit to go to bed on time, or if you stayed late up night with those people, with some friends, just tell yourself, okay, what can I do so I do not do the same mistake? What can I find a solution so I do not fall back to my old version? Man, Remind yourself about discipline. Discipline is very important in our entrepreneurial life. In entrepreneurship, when you are disciplined enough, you are building that new version of yourself. You stay disciplined when it comes to doing the work. You stay disciplined when it comes to eating healthy. You stay disciplined when it comes to improving your healthy life. You stay disciplined when it comes to taking care of your health and improving your mindset. And the other practical tips for you is when you slept by and when you feel tired, exhausted, and low on energy, just make more exercises and move your body. Move your body, do your training, your workout, so you can regulate your energy, your body, so you can maintain good, healthy, positive life instead of feeling guilty, blaming, and self criticism. And hydrate. Commit to hydration that day. Drink too much water and do reflection. Do journaling while reflecting on your habit, on your behavior, and why did that habit showed up in your life? Why did you repeat that bad habit? Why did you break your non-negotiable? Just get deep enough in your reflection, in your journaling, so you can learn, so you can find out why that behavior keeps showing up or why you repeat the same habit, the same behavior, and you can figure out a solution for that behavior and you can commit to your non-negotiables. And committing to our non-negotiables will help us stay disciplined. We will remove so many bad, unhealthy, negative habits when we are committed and disciplined with our non-negotiables, because our non-negotiables are our allies. They are showing us what we need to do and why we're doing it. So, and the other thing that you need to do is just stay committed to your non-negotiables for a long period of time. And I promise you, at the beginning you may struggle. At the beginning you may find that it's hard to stay committed to your non-negotiables, but after you build that habits, after you establish them, after you establish those habits, those routines, and those boundaries and those constraints, they will become a lifestyle. They will become a part of your lifestyle, and your non-negotiables will not feel like very hard or boring or that you are dragging yourself. Your non-negotiables will become automatic. So you want to commit, you want to maintain good healthy habits, you want to avoid habits, behaviors that impacted your life before and that will not show up in your life again. So my best tips for you is, as entrepreneurs, it's important that we manage our energy, that we manage our productivity, that we manage our your business. And so as entrepreneurs, it's very important that we fuck. So your health, your energy, your discipline should be your non-negotiables, because when you make those areas non-negotiables on your entrepreneurial life, you are maintaining a healthy, positive, and happy and fulfilled life. And we as entrepreneurs, it's very important that we manage our health, we manage our energy, we manage our entrepreneurial life, not only how many hours we work. Our health, our entrepreneurial success, it doesn't depend on how many works. Fuck. So, as entrepreneurs, it's very important that we make health, discipline, and our energy non negotiables, because when we make sure that those areas are non negotiables in our life, we are protecting our new version from falling back to our old version, and we are maintaining a good, healthy, positive, fulfilled, happy life while we are running our businesses. And the other thing is, we as entrepreneurs, it's important that we manage our energy. We learn to manage our health, not only manage our work, because our business success doesn't depend on how many hours we work in our businesses. Instead, it depends on how we manage our energy, how we commit on our non negotiables, how we implement our morning and evening routines, habits, rituals in our daily life. And remember, entrepreneurship requires health, it requires your energy. So every time you commit to your non negotiables, every time you protect your new version, every time you block and protect yourself from your old version, every time you stay disciplined in your daily life, in your entrepreneurial journey, every time you are getting closer to your business success, you are getting closer to your goals and your dreams. That's it. That's what I got for you in this episode. I hope you enjoyed listening, learning, and gaining some knowledge and gaining some tips, strategies, practical steps about helping yourself, protecting your new version from falling back to your old version. And I am doing my best to publish a new episode and share tips, insights, strategies, practical tips from this podcast, so I can help you break through in your entrepreneurial life. Please do not forget to download your free guide in the below description area, and follow me on iTunes or Spotify so you can get a new content a new episode every week. Thank you so much for watching or listening, and I can't wait to publish a new episode. Bye everyone. That wasn't bad.